Asterisk, you know what's funny? Asterisk people always think they can read you. They look at your silence and call it weakness. They look at your patience and mistake it for fear. They look into your eyes searching for limits. But tonight, they're going to find something else. Because when they tried to read your energy, what they saw terrified them. Not because you were loud, not because you were angry, but because deep inside you, there's a storm that refuses to break. High voltage, and the scariest thing in this world is a person who has suffered, survived, and came back stronger with a smile. Asterisk people have a strange habit. They judge you before you even speak. The moment you walk into a room, they start creating stories about you inside their heads. If you stay quiet, they think you are weak. If you stay calm, they think you are scared. If you avoid attention, they assume you have nothing special inside you. They laugh too early because they mistake silence for surrender. That's the biggest mistake people make when they try to understand powerful souls. The world has been trained to worship noise. The loudest person in the room gets attention. The person who keeps talking gets noticed. But strength doesn't always scream. Sometimes real strength sits quietly, watches carefully, and waits patiently. That kind of energy confuses people because they don't know how to measure it. They are comfortable around people who constantly seek approval. But the moment they meet someone who doesn't beg for validation, they become uncomfortable. You see, silence is dangerous. Silence means observation. Silence means control. Silence means you are thinking instead of reacting. Weak people react to everything. Strong people study everything. And while others are busy showing off their fake confidence, you are learning the game. That's why they underestimate you. They think because you don't fight for attention, you have nothing worth noticing. But pain changes people. Struggles create a different kind of human being. When someone has survived betrayal, failure, loneliness, and disappointment, they stop needing to prove themselves to the world. They stop wasting energy trying to convince people of their worth. They become quieter, sharper, calmer, not because they lost confidence, but because they discovered something greater than noise self-control. People fear what they cannot understand. They get nervous around calm individuals because calmness under pressure is rare. Anybody can smile when life is easy. Anybody can act confident when everything is going their way. But a person who remains composed after being broken multiple times becomes something terrifying. That kind of person cannot be manipulated easily. They cannot be controlled by opinions. They cannot be destroyed by rejection, because life already tested them in ways most people would never survive. And that's why your silence bothers them. Deep down, they know there is something hidden behind it. They can feel it even if they cannot explain it. Energy speaks louder than words ever could. The way you carry yourself, the way you look at challenges, the way you stay standing after every attack, it sends a message without speaking. It tells the world that you have survived battles nobody knows about. The funny thing is, the same people who once ignored you eventually become curious about you. They start watching you more carefully. They wonder how someone so quiet can carry so much presence. They wonder why your confidence doesn't depend on applause. They wonder why pressure doesn't break you the way it breaks others. And slowly, the people who once underestimated you begin to realize they misunderstood you completely. Because weakness seeks attention. Weakness needs constant approval. Weakness panics under pressure. But your silence was never weakness. Your silence was preparation. While they were laughing, you were growing. While they were judging, you were healing. While they were talking, you were building strength in places nobody could see. Pain changes people in ways the world will never fully understand. Some people experience pain and become bitter. Others experience pain and become stronger. The difference between the two is mindset. Weak minds allow pain to destroy them, but strong minds allow pain to transform them. Every scar, every betrayal, every sleepless night becomes fuel. And when enough pain collects inside one person, something dangerous is created, a different beast. Nobody is born fearless. Fear is learned through suffering. Confidence is built through survival. The strongest people you will ever meet are not the people who lived comfortable lives. They are the people who walked through darkness alone and still found the strength to keep moving. They are the people who lost everything but refused to lose themselves. Pain forced them to evolve because staying weak was no longer an option. The world only sees the final version of a strong person. They admire the confidence, the discipline, the unshakable energy, but they never see the chaos that created it. They never see the nights filled with doubt, the moments of loneliness, the silent battles fought behind closed doors. They don't see the heartbreaks that taught caution or the failures that built resilience. They only see the result, not the process. That's why people misunderstand powerful individuals. They think strength comes naturally. They think confidence is gifted. They think calmness means life has always been easy. But real strength is born from surviving things that were supposed to break you. Every difficult moment becomes another layer of armor. Every betrayal teaches awareness. Every disappointment teaches independence. Pain also changes the way you see people. Once you've been hurt enough times, you stop trusting words so easily. You start paying attention to actions, energy, and intentions. You become harder to fool because experience sharpens your instinct. Sense. The innocent version of you slowly disappears, replaced by someone more aware, more careful, and far more dangerous. And dangerous doesn't always mean violent. Sometimes dangerous means emotionally strong. Sometimes dangerous means impossible to manipulate. Sometimes dangerous means having enough self-respect to walk away from toxic people without explanation. A person who has suffered deeply learns how to survive alone, and once someone masters loneliness, they become unstoppable. People often fear those who no longer depend on validation. Society controls weak minds through approval, attention, and acceptance. But pain teaches independence. It teaches you that not everybody will support you, understand you, or stay loyal to you. After enough disappointment, you stop expecting rescue from others. You become your own source of motivation. That transformation shocks people. The same person they once ignored suddenly walks with confidence. The same person they underestimated suddenly radiates strength. The same person they thought would quit keeps rising again and again. And what scares them the most is realizing that every attack they threw at you only made you stronger. It creates emotional discipline. You stop reacting to every insult. You stop wasting energy proving yourself to people who already decided to misunderstand you. You learn that silence can be more powerful than arguments. You learn that patience can destroy chaos. While others lose control under pressure, you remain steady because life already trained you for difficult moments. A different beast is created when someone turns suffering into power. That person no longer fears failure because they already survived worse. They no longer fear rejection because they learned self-worth. They no longer fear standing alone because loneliness became a teacher instead of a punishment. And when people look into the eyes of someone who survived pain without losing their ambition, they see something unsettling. They see resilience. They see hunger. They see emotional scars turned into strength. They see a person who refuses to stay broken no matter how hard life tries to destroy them. Energy never lies. Words can be fake. Smiles can be fake. Promises can be fake, but energy always reveals the truth. You can stand in a room full of people pretending to be confident, pretending to be loyal, pretending to be happy, yet their energy exposes everything they try to hide. Human beings are experts at acting, but real energy cannot wear a mask forever. That's why some people make you uncomfortable the moment they walk into a room. They may smile at you, shake your hand, and speak politely, but something inside you feels wrong. That feeling is energy speaking before logic understands what's happening. In the same way, there are people who instantly make you feel calm and inspired without even trying. Their energy carries peace, confidence, and authenticity. Powerful people understand this. They stop listening only to words and start reading vibrations, behavior, and presence. Because somebody can tell you they support you while secretly competing with you. Somebody can praise you in public, but envy you in private. Somebody can pretend to love you while hoping for your downfall. Energy exposes intentions long before actions do. The frightening thing about strong energy is that it cannot stay hidden forever. You don't need to scream to command attention. You don't need to beg for respect to earn it. Some people carry an aura so powerful that others feel it the moment they enter the room. It's not about appearance, money, or status. It's about inner strength. It's about surviving enough pain to become emotionally solid. People who have weak energy constantly seek validation. They need attention to feel important. They need approval to feel worthy. Their confidence disappears the moment criticism appears. But someone with powerful energy doesn't depend on applause. Their confidence comes from experience, discipline, and self-awareness. They know who they are even when the world doubts them. That's why energy intimidates insecure people. They become uncomfortable around calm confidence because it reminds them of everything they lack inside themselves. A secure person inspires others, but an insecure person envies strength. The moment they sense someone carrying powerful energy, they either try to compete, attack, or avoid them completely. You've probably noticed this before. Sometimes people dislike you without knowing you personally. You never harmed them, insulted them, or competed with them, yet they still feel threatened. The reason is simple: your energy speaks louder than your words. Your discipline, your focus, your confidence, your silence all come together. Communicate something they cannot ignore. It reminds them that you are becoming something greater than what they expected. Energy also reveals emotional control. Anybody can stay positive when life is easy. But real energy is tested during pressure, chaos, and struggle. When problems appear, weak people panic, complain, and lose control. Strong people remain composed. Not because they don't feel pain, but because they learned how to manage it. Their calmness during storms becomes terrifying to those who break under pressure. The most dangerous energy comes from someone who no longer fears losing everything. A person who has already faced heartbreak, betrayal, failure, and loneliness develops a different mindset. They stop fearing temporary pain because they know they can survive it. That kind of energy cannot be manipulated through fear anymore. And once fear loses its power over someone, they become unstoppable. They stop chasing approval. They stop shrinking themselves to make others comfortable. They stop apologizing for their ambition, intelligence, or confidence. Their entire presence changes because they finally understand their value. People can fake words for years, but the eyes cannot fake energy forever. Eventually, the truth leaks through their attitude, reactions, jealousy, and behavior. That's why wise people pay attention to how someone makes them feel instead of only listening to what they say. Because deep inside, energy always tells the real story. Fear changes sides the moment a person stops being controlled by it. Most people spend their entire lives running away from fear. They fear rejection, failure, judgment, loneliness, and pain. Every decision they make is shaped by the opinions of others. They stay silent because they fear criticism. They stay weak because they fear risk. They remain trapped because fear becomes the cage around their potential. But something extraordinary happens when a person faces enough struggles. After surviving pain repeatedly, fear slowly loses its power. The things that once felt terrifying no longer seem impossible. Rejection becomes normal. Failure becomes a lesson. Loneliness becomes familiar. And the person who was once afraid of the world becomes someone the world starts fearing instead. That transformation confuses people. They remember the old version of you, the version that doubted itself, stayed quiet, and tolerated disrespect. They expect you to remain that same person forever. But pain changes perspective. Once someone realizes they survived their worst moments and are still standing, their mindset becomes dangerous. They stop begging for acceptance because they understand survival gave them something greater than approval, inner strength. Fear is one of the most powerful tools society uses to control people. Fear keeps talented people invisible. Fear keeps intelligent people silent. Fear keeps dreamers trapped in ordinary lives. The world rewards obedience because obedient people are easy to control. But the moment someone stops fearing judgment, they become unpredictable. That's what terrifies people the most: unpredictability. They feel comfortable around insecure individuals because insecure people constantly seek permission. But a confident person who no longer needs validation becomes difficult to manipulate. You cannot threaten someone who already accepted struggle as part of life. You cannot easily intimidate someone who already walked through darkness alone. Fear changes sides when you stop reacting emotionally to everything. Weak people explode under pressure because they never learned emotional control. Strong people remain calm because they understand panic solves nothing. And calmness under pressure is deeply intimidating. Imagine two people standing in chaos. One loses control while the other remains composed. Instantly, the calm person appears more powerful. People expect fear to create weakness, but sometimes fear creates monsters. Every painful experience forces growth. Every betrayal sharpens awareness. Every failure increases resilience. Slowly, the person who once feared everything develops emotional armor. They stop breaking so easily because life trained them to survive difficult moments. And once a person masters survival, fear begins targeting others instead. The same people who once laughed at your dreams start becoming nervous about your progress. The same people who underestimated you begin watching you carefully. They notice your confidence changing. They notice your silence becoming stronger. They notice you no longer react to negativity the way you used to. That shift creates discomfort because insecure people depend on controlling others emotionally. They expect their criticism to weaken you. They expect rejection action to stop you. They expect pressure to make you quit. But when none of those things work anymore, they start feeling powerless. Nothing is more unsettling than realizing someone you once underestimated has become mentally stronger than you. Suddenly, the fear they once placed inside you returns to them. They become worried about your growth, your confidence, and your potential because they can no longer predict your limits. Fear also changes sides when you stop fearing loneliness. Most people stay trapped in toxic situations because they are terrified of being alone. They tolerate disrespect just to feel accepted. But once someone learns how to stand alone with confidence, manipulation loses its power completely. A person who can survive without constant approval becomes impossible to emotionally imprison. That kind of mindset radiates energy people can feel instantly. It's not loud or aggressive, but it's powerful. It's the energy of someone who already fought internal battles nobody knows about. Someone who already survived nights filled with doubt, pain, and disappointment. Someone who understands that fear is temporary, but regret lasts forever. And when people realize they can no longer control you through fear, something changes inside them. The pressure shifts. The anxiety shifts. The fear changes sides because the person who once felt powerless finally discovered their strength. Confidence is dangerous because it changes the way a person walks, speaks, thinks, and survives. The world becomes uncomfortable the moment someone truly believes in themselves. Not fake confidence built on attention, money, or popularity, but real confidence built through struggle, discipline, and self-respect. That kind of confidence cannot be broken easily because it was created in pain, not comfort. Most people spend their lives doubting themselves. They second-guess every decision, fear every opinion, and constantly seek validation from others. Society teaches people to stay small, stay quiet, and avoid standing out. Because insecure people are easier to control. They follow the crowd, obey limitations, and fear taking risks. But confidence destroys that control. A confident person becomes dangerous because they stop asking for permission to exist. They stop apologizing for their ambition. They stop shrinking themselves just to make insecure people feel comfortable. And the moment someone refuses to lower their energy for others, they immediately attract attention, both admiration and hatred. Weak people often confuse confidence with arrogance because they don't understand the difference. Arrogance screams for attention. Real confidence stays calm. Arrogance tries to prove superiority. Real confidence doesn't feel the need to compete constantly. A truly confident person knows their value without needing the world to confirm it every day. That's what makes confidence intimidating. When somebody knows who they are, manipulation stops working. You cannot easily control someone who no longer fears rejection. You cannot silence someone who already accepted criticism as part of growth. You cannot destroy someone whose confidence comes from surviving difficult experiences instead of temporary success. Pain creates real confidence. Every failure teaches lessons. Every betrayal teaches awareness. Every struggle teaches resilience. Slowly, a person begins trusting themselves more because life forced them to survive situations nobody else could handle for them. They realize they already overcame moments they once thought would destroy them. And once someone understands their own strength, fear loses influence over them. Confident people carry themselves differently. Even their silence feels powerful. They don't need to dominate every conversation because their presence already speaks loudly. They don't chase approval because they learned self-respect is more valuable than public validation. While others constantly seek attention, confident individuals focus on growth, discipline, and purpose. This energy disturbs insecure people deeply. Insecurity always compares. Insecurity always competes. Insecurity feels threatened by anyone carrying strong self-belief. That's why confident people are often criticized the most. Not because they are wrong, but because they remind others of the confidence they wish they had themselves. People become nervous around someone who cannot be emotionally controlled. If insults no longer weaken you, people lose power over you. If rejection no longer stops you, people lose influence over your decisions. If fear no longer controls your actions, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable people are dangerous to anyone trying to maintain control. Confidence also changes the way you handle lure. Weak minds see failure as proof they should quit. Confident minds see failure as training. They understand mistakes are temporary, but growth is permanent. Instead of collapsing under pressure, they adapt and continue moving forward. That persistence alone intimidates people who give up easily. There's something terrifying about a person who refuses to hate themselves anymore. A person who finally accepts their flaws, embraces their scars, and still chooses to believe in their potential becomes almost impossible to break mentally. Because the world can only destroy someone who secretly agrees with the negativity thrown at them. And once somebody reaches a level where they no longer need constant approval, they become free. Free from fear, free from judgment, free from emotional dependence on others. Their confidence becomes more than an attitude, it becomes energy. The kind of energy that walks into a room quietly but changes the atmosphere instantly. That's why confidence is dangerous. Not because it harms people, but because it exposes weakness in those who never learned how to believe in themselves. Storms are never welcomed. People admire sunshine because it feels safe, predictable and comfortable. But storms change everything. Storms shake the ground, break illusions, and force people to face reality. That's why becoming the storm means becoming someone impossible to ignore. It means carrying an energy so powerful that weak minds feel uncomfortable in your presence. Most people spend their lives trying to fit in. They hide their ambition to avoid criticism. They hide their pain to avoid judgment. They hide their true potential because society teaches people to fear standing out. The world rewards ordinary behavior because ordinary people rarely challenge anything. But storms were never created to fit inside calm skies. A storm is built through pressure. Thunder is created through conflict in the sky, just like strength is created through conflict in life. Nobody becomes powerful by living comfortably forever. Real growth begins when life pushes someone beyond their limits. Every difficult moment adds intensity. Every betrayal adds awareness. Every failure adds resilience. Slowly, pressure transforms an ordinary person into something unstoppable. People fear storms because storms cannot be controlled. And the moment a person stops allowing they then become dangerous in the eyes of insecure people. Society likes predictable individuals because predictable people follow expectations. But someone who creates their own path becomes difficult to understand. That's why strong individuals are often misunderstood. The world calls them arrogant when they develop self-respect. The world calls them cold when they stop tolerating fake behavior. The world calls them intimidating when they finally stop acting weak just to make others comfortable. But storms don't apologize for their power. There comes a moment in life when pain forces transformation. A person gets tired of constantly being underestimated, ignored, manipulated, or doubted. Something inside them changes. They stop seeking approval from people who never believed in them anyway. They stop shrinking themselves to fit inside small-minded expectations. And the quiet version of them slowly disappears. What replaces it is presence, confidence, discipline, focus. The energy of somebody who finally realized their worth. Becoming the storm doesn't mean becoming cruel. It means becoming mentally unbreakable. It means alking into difficult situations without fear controlling your mind. It means staying calm while chaos surrounds you. Weak people panic under pressure because they depend on comfort for stability. Strong people create stability within themselves. Storms also reveal truth. When pressure arrives, fake people expose themselves quickly. Loyalty disappears. Masks fall apart. Weakness becomes visible. Difficult moments show who genuinely supports you and who only stayed around during easy times. That's why storms are necessary in life. They remove illusions and force reality into the open. The strongest people are usually the ones who survived alone for the longest time. They learned how to fight silent battles nobody noticed. They learned how to rebuild themselves after disappointment. They learned how to continue moving forward even when motivation disappeared. Those experiences create emotional endurance that most people never develop. And once someone reaches that level of strength, their energy changes completely. They stop reacting emotionally to every opinion. They stop wasting time proving themselves to doubters. They stop chasing people who failed to value them. Their focus becomes sharper because they understand distractions destroy growth. That mindset intimidates weak minds instantly. Insecure people become nervous around disciplined individuals because discipline reflects everything they lack inside themselves. A storm reminds weak people how fragile they truly are. The most powerful storms are often silent before they explode. That's why calm individuals should never be underestimated. Silence does not mean weakness. Silence often means preparation. While others are busy talking, complaining, and seeking attention, the storm is building strength quietly in the background. And when the moment finally arrives, everything changes. The same people who ignored you begin watching you carefully. The same people who doubted you suddenly feel threatened by your confidence. The same people who laughed at your dreams become uncomfortable with your growth because they realize you are no longer someone they can control, stop, or define.